Welcome back to Speak English Like a Pro. I'm so genuinely glad you're here with me today because we're about to dive into a topic that I know deep down resonates with so many of you on an incredibly personal level. It's that feeling, isn't it? That almost paradoxical frustration where you can understand English perfectly. You can read articles, watch movies without subtitles, listen to podcasts, follow conversations effortlessly, but when it comes to opening your mouth, when it's your turn to speak, the words just don't come out. Or they come out slowly, hesitantly, not quite matching the vibrant thoughts you have in your head. It's like you have this rich, complex internal world in English, but the connection to your voice just isn't quite there. If you've ever felt that way, that you understand English, but you simply can't speak it with the fluency and confidence you crave, then I want you to know, unequivocally, that you are absolutely not alone. This is one of the most common, most frustrating hurdles that English learners face worldwide. It's a very particular kind of challenge because it feels like you're so close to fluency, you can taste it, but there's an invisible barrier. It's as if your brain is a brilliant English dictionary and grammar book, but your mouth and your confidence haven't quite caught up. I've been there myself, truly, and I understand that specific brand of silent struggle. I remember vividly those times when I'd be in a group, listening to a conversation in English, and I'd understand every single word, every nuance, every joke. I'd have a witty comment ready, a thoughtful question, or a perfect response forming perfectly in my mind. But by the time I prepared to utter it, by the time I carefully constructed the sentence in my head, the conversation would have moved on, leaving me feeling frustrated, unheard, and honestly, a little defeated. It was like I was a silent observer in a world I completely understood, but couldn't quite participate in. That feeling of having so much to say, so much knowledge, but being unable to bridge that gap to confident, spontaneous speech, it's incredibly disheartening. What's happening here isn't a lack of knowledge. It's often a combination of factors, often intertwined with a very common kind of performance anxiety. You might be suffering from what we sometimes call the input-output imbalance. You've spent so much time absorbing English, taking it all in, reading, listening, watching, which is fantastic for comprehension. But speaking is a completely different muscle, a different skill set. It requires active production, spontaneous generation, and that's where the hesitation often creeps in. We get stuck in a loop. We're afraid to speak because we might make a mistake, and because we don't speak, we don't get the practice we need to overcome the fear of making mistakes. It's a tricky cycle to break, but it is absolutely breakable. So, how do we begin to unravel this particular challenge? How do we build that bridge from understanding to truly speaking English without that paralyzing hesitation? The first vital step, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is to truly change your internal dialogue about mistakes. For so many of us, the fear of making an error is the absolute biggest blocker. We dread sounding silly, or less intelligent, or being corrected. But here's a fundamental truth about language learning. Mistakes are not just inevitable, they are absolutely essential. They're your best teachers. Every single stumble, every awkward phrase, every mispronounced word is actually a piece of feedback from your brain telling you, okay, this is an area where I can learn and improve. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall hundreds of times, right? Do we scold them for falling? No. We celebrate every wobbly step. We need to adopt that same compassion and encouragement for ourselves. Give yourself explicit permission to sound less than perfect. Tell yourself, it's okay to make mistakes. That means I'm trying, and that means I'm learning. This mindset shift alone can free up so much mental energy that's currently tied up in fear. Once you start to ease up on the perfectionism, the next crucial step is to activate your English production muscles, even when you're alone. Since the fear of external judgment is often the biggest hurdle, let's remove that judgment entirely by making your initial speaking practice a completely private affair. Think of it as building your confidence behind closed doors before stepping onto the big stage. Start by narrating your day out loud, just to yourself. As you make your morning tea, describe the process. I'm pouring the water into the kettle. Now I'm turning on the stove. As you walk, describe what you see. The sky is blue today, and there are many people walking their dogs. This forces your brain to retrieve words and construct sentences spontaneously, exactly what you need for real conversations, but without any pressure. Then, try recording yourself. Pick any topic, your plans for the weekend, a movie you watched, a book you're reading, and just talk into your phone's voice recorder for a minute or two. Don't stop, even if you stumble. Then listen back. Not to criticize, but to observe. Where did you hesitate? Which words were hard to find? This provides invaluable self-feedback and helps you get comfortable with the sound of your own voice speaking English, which is a significant psychological hurdle for many. Beyond just producing your own thoughts, you need to deliberately train your mouth and ears for the rhythm of spoken English. You understand listening, yes, but often our ears are tuned to the individual words, not the flow. This is where shadowing becomes incredibly powerful. Find a native English speaker, a podcaster, a YouTuber you like, an actor in a show, and choose a short segment of their speech. Then, play it and try to mimic them exactly as they speak. Don't just repeat the words, try to match their intonation, their rhythm, their speed, and how they connect sounds. If they say, "What you doin'?" you try to say, "What you doin'?" This trains your mouth muscles to form the sounds more naturally, and it attunes your ear to the music of English speech. When you practice this consistently, those words that you understand so well in your head will start to flow more effortlessly from your mouth, almost like muscle memory, making the bridge from understanding to speaking feel much shorter. And here's a profound secret for overcoming that silent struggle. You need to actively start engaging your brain in English in a way that forces production, even when you're not talking to a person. This means transforming your passive understanding into active thought processes. If you read an article, instead of just understanding it, spend a few minutes verbally summarizing it to yourself. If you watch a video, pause it occasionally and verbally predict what might happen next, or explain what you just saw. Engage in mental role-playing scenarios. Imagine you're at a coffee shop or asking for directions, and verbally practice what you would say. Play both parts if you like. "Can I get a latte, please?"
Pause.
"Sure, anything else?" "No. Thank you, that's all." This continuous, active internal, and sometimes external, verbalization helps to strengthen the link between your comprehension and your ability to produce the language on demand. You're essentially tricking your brain into practicing real-time conversation, even when there's no one else there. Finally, and this is incredibly important for breaking free from that understanding but not speaking loop, is to gradually, deliberately, and consistently expose yourself to low-stakes, real-world speaking situations. The idea isn't to jump into a job interview tomorrow. It's about building confidence through tiny, manageable interactions. Start with simple greetings with people you encounter. "Good morning" to the security guard, or "Have a good day" to the cashier. These are predictable, low-pressure exchanges. Then, move to simple questions or comments. Asking for help in a shop. "Excuse me, where are the fruits?" Or making a simple observation to a colleague. "Wow, it's hot today, isn't it?" The goal is just to use your voice, to get comfortable with the act of speaking English in front of others, even if for just a few words. Each tiny successful interaction reinforces to your brain that speaking English is safe, that you can be understood, and that it's a positive experience. The more you do this, the more those small moments of courage build into a wave of confidence that washes away the hesitation. Remember, the journey from understanding English to speaking it fluently and confidently is less about acquiring more knowledge and more about activating the knowledge you already possess. It's about building the muscle of spontaneous speech, changing your relationship with mistakes, and consistently putting yourself, gently, into situations where you have to produce the language. You have a wealth of English comprehension within you. Now, it's time to lovingly and patiently nurture that voice, to build that bridge from your understanding to your vibrant, articulate speech. You absolutely can do this. The pro within you is ready to speak. If this conversation resonated with you, if you felt that deep understanding of your struggle and now feel a little more hope and direction, please give this video a big thumbs up, share it with anyone else who might be experiencing this very specific challenge, and of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss any more powerful insights from Speak English Like a Pro.